Well, good morning, boys and girls. Here I am in the Westall Hall, and behind me are the banners that I asked you all to have a look at, those that are in the juniors. The rest of you can't because we're not swapping bubbles, are we? We're in our separate buildings. But behind me, the green banner is for St. Cuthbert. And on the other side is the red banner for St. Margaret. And I'm going to choose those two saints today. I think, to be honest, St. Cuthbert, I've got so much to tell you about St. Cuthbert. I'm going to leave you with some questions about St. Margaret, but we're going to discuss saints today. Now then, in a moment, I am going to share the screen, and I just want to say a very big thank you, boys and girls, for not rushing up to me over the last day to say, Mrs. Hodgson, your music didn't work. You looked very funny in the corner of the screen, waving your arms around. You were lovely. Nobody made me feel bad about the fact technology failed me, didn't it, on Monday? Well, as I tell you, don't give up. So I haven't given up. I'm trying to be resilient. I'm smiling still, and we're going to try it again today. I have been given lots of advice about a button that I haven't seen, and I need to press it. So today, I'm going to try and click the right button and get you all joining in your classes with welcome everybody. So here goes. Shall we see if I've actually got it right? Put my glasses on, it would help. So if I share the screen, I then have to share computer sound. I actually don't know if you can see that with all of you, but I can hear. See, for me, I could even hear the music on Monday, which is why I was doing my greetings. Anyway, let's see. Shall we see if it works? Welcome everybody. The Lord is here. His Spirit is with us. And let's see. He's saying all this. Hello, boys and girls.
Here we are together, now we can begin. The youngest and the oldest, the only child, the twin. Some who are feeling left out, and some who are feeling in. Gathering in this place. Welcome everybody, it's good to see you here. Welcome everybody, it's good to see you here. Welcome everybody, it's good to see you here. Gathering in this place. Here we are together, joining in this song. Even those who feel that their singing's not that strong. And as we sing, may every person know that they belong. Gathering in this place. Welcome everybody, it's good to see you here. Welcome everybody, it's good to see you here. Welcome everybody, it's good to see you here. Gathering in this place. Here we are together with our hopes and fears, bringing many feelings, our laughter and our tears. And now it's time for everyone to tell the world we're here. Gathering in this place. Welcome everybody, it's good to see you here. Welcome everybody, it's good to see you here. Welcome everybody, it's good to see you here. Gathering in this place. Welcome everybody, it's good to see you here. 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 Welcome everybody, it's good to see you. Welcome everybody, it's good to see you. Welcome everybody, it's good to see you. Gathering in this place.
Well, boys and girls, I'm hoping that worked. So putting my glasses back on so I can share this with you. I know some of you went to visit this cathedral this summer. Jessica in year 5, you sent me some lovely pictures of your visit. This is Durham Cathedral. I've mentioned it a few times lately. It's somewhere I lived for 3 years. I lived in Durham, and Durham Cathedral, I went to worship there. And having grown up in Charlotte Richard, where the village church was a small church, even smaller than local ones in our area here now, and going to Durham Cathedral, which is a huge, beautiful cathedral, a wonderful experience, and I really enjoyed worshipping in a different place and learning different things about my faith. And one of the things I learned quite a lot about at Durham Cathedral was about saints. Now, Durham Cathedral, although it only has the name of the town in its title, is a special cathedral for Saint Cuthbert. Now, we know a lot about Saint Cuthbert in our area because in Lytham there is a church dedicated to Saint Cuthbert. But at Durham Cathedral, one of my first visits, because as a member of the university, when you become a member of the university, the service is held in the cathedral because the university and the cathedral grew up together, a bit like our school and the parish church and St. Anne's grew up together. And in the cathedral, there was this lovely part, which it was a mix of old and new. I thought it was beautiful because it was very, very old, with these candles at either end of what looked like a gravestone in the ground. But above it was this most amazing modern painting. There we are. And you can see, if I go back to the other picture, you can see how it's hanging over where there's a stone with the name Cuthbertus in Latin on it, and these 4 candles at either end. And it's used at various times in the year for special services. It's a very small part of the cathedral in actual fact. And there it is in the evening when the candles are lit. And I think that's at Easter time, of that picture. So it's a very special part of the cathedral. And this is the shrine to Saint Cuthbert. And I didn't know much about St. Cuthbert, I have to be honest. I knew there was a church in Lytham because my grandma lived in St. Anne's, so we used to go past it on the way to visit her, but that was it. Now, St. Cuthbert is a very interesting person, and he lived before this cathedral was built, and the cathedral is very old. Look at the picture there, it's a very, very old cathedral, and it was built in Norman times, so after the 1066 conquest of Britain by William the Conqueror. But St. Cuthbert lived before that. And the St. Cuthbert cross, it's a special cross. You can look at it there, you can have a discussion perhaps about why it's different. And in many parts of Britain, you can find that St. Cuthbert's cross in places where it's strange places, in places by the sea. We have one in Lytham. I wonder if you can have a discussion about where St. Cuthbert's cross in Lytham is. Not at the church, there is one in the church, but just somewhere else. But you find them in different places. And this is St. Cuthbert's church in Lytham, just in case you've forgotten that you've driven past it or played football near it. And inside it has the most beautiful painting on the wall near the altar. And I think that's a painting from the book of Revelation, where everybody is bowing down and worshipping God, and all the angels and archangels and all the saints and all the everyday saints, everybody is there at the book of Revelation, where we're worshipping God and praising him. And it's a very beautiful painting inside St. Cuthbert's church there. So, church to a saint. What do we need to know about St. Cuthbert? Well, I'm going to stop this share and I'm going to share with you another share, which I've got them sharing computer sound still, so that's good. Let's go into this one now. Tell you a little bit about St. Cuthbert. If it'll let me open it. There we go. Right. So, slideshow beginning. Ooh, that made a funny noise, didn't it? There we got St. Cuthbert. And this is where he grew up, Northumbria, near Scotland. He was born near the border between Scotland and England, but he's always known as a northern saint. And he's, can you see the date there? 634 AD. So he's known as a Celtic saint, but it's a long, long time ago. And I do like these noises on this. I'm not quite sure how I managed that. As a boy, he worked as a shepherd, but one night in 651, he saw great light in the sky. Now, that was Same night, Bishop Aidan of Lindisfarne died. Now, Cuthbert believed the light was calling him to be his servant, and so he became a monk. And monks in those days did lots of good, kind deeds, but they also wrote out the Bible in beautiful script with beautiful illuminated letters. Some of you may know about those, you may have done it in art. Cuthbert travelled all over Northumbria, teaching people how to live good lives and healing people. Cuthbert seemed to possess wonderful powers where he could make people better, and he was loved for his kindness and generosity. Now, one day, the story is told, he met a poor boy who was hungry. Cuthbert pointed to an eagle above them. God has sent the eagle to help us, he said. When the eagle flew down to the water, Cuthbert said, "Run and see what the Lord has sent us." The boy found a fish and he took it. Cuthbert asked him, "Why have you not given to our servant her share?" And he told the boy to cut the fish in half and give half to the eagle. Now, that's always an interesting story. It's always told about St. Cuthbert. And I think, well, it's quite interesting. I don't think I'd want to share with a bird, an eagle even, what it had brought to me. I think I would probably, but if you're hungry, would want to eat it, wouldn't you? I'm thinking, well, I don't think I'd want it, but if you're hungry, you really would. But that story is really symbolising how we need to share. And when we're given good things, don't keep it all for ourselves, but share that. So that, in my mind, means when we have a skill, something that we're good at, we don't just keep it to ourselves, we share it with others. When we know that somebody needs something, we help them. And that's exactly what St. Cuthbert was like. And in all the things that we know about St. Cuthbert, he moved to become prior of Lindisfarne. Now, Lindisfarne is an absolutely beautiful place. Some of you may have visited, so maybe you can chat about it in your classes. I have, and I found it a wonderful experience visiting Lindisfarne. It's called the Holy Island as well. And the atmosphere there was very special, and it felt like a holy place. And he was in charge of running the abbey, and it's a ruin now, and you can only visit the ruins, but it was a very, very special place. And so for all those years, he was in charge of it. The monks worked very hard, spreading the good news and spreading good deeds. And he retired later, and I love this picture. He went to live in a little cave, I'm not sure it's that one, on the Farne Islands near Lindisfarne. He liked to spend time praying and being with nature. He was a very simple person in terms of what he needed in life. He didn't need a grand house to live in and special clothes to wear. He just needed simple things, and he needed to feel at one with God. And nature often helps people feel closer to God. And certainly in the northeast of our country, it's a very special place, the northeast, very holy. He died there in 687 and was buried at Lindisfarne. But St. Cuthbert, just going to, the end of his life was quite interesting. Just let that carry it on. In 698, the Vikings raided Lindisfarne, and the monks of Lindisfarne fled from the island with Cuthbert's remains. That means his body, which was in sarcophagus. It was a stone coffin at that point, a bit like the Egyptians had. And they carried it from place to place because they felt he was such a holy person. And there are lots of stories surrounding St. Cuthbert and his body being carried in this stone sarcophagus from place to place until, there we are, the Vikings attacking, until, that's just a statue of the monks carrying his body, and until he finally came to rest in Durham Cathedral. And many, many people visit his shrine there, and I've shown you pictures of it, haven't I? But there we are, there's another picture of it. Cuthbertus, it says on it, I said before, and see the places you can kneel and say your prayers there in the shrine to St. Cuthbert. But one of the resting places where the monks rested when they were carrying St. Cuthbert's body to keep it safe because he was such a special person to them, had been a special person, one of those places is in Lytham. See if you can find where it is. Give you a task there. But St. Cuthbert, a very special saint. Now, unlike lots of saints, I'm going to go back to my other share. See, I'm doing lots of technical things today, aren't I, boys and girls? Unlike many saints, there was no death and destruction with St. Cuthbert. He wasn't involved of having to fight, and he wasn't persecuted during his lifetime. Persecuted means people were unkind to him for his faith. He had a life of goodness and holiness. He led a life where he tried to help people understand more about the gospel through his work as a monk, writing it out and illuminating it beautifully. And it's still preserved, that gospel, the Lindisfarne Gospel, and it's preserved in Durham Cathedral. They have a copy, and he had a really holy, good life, helped guide people, which is what saints, the light of God is supposed to shine through a saint. That's what makes them special. And we try to encourage everybody in school to let the light of God shine through us so that we can be everyday saints. Now, many saints are thanked for their goodness and their kindness. And I'm just going to resume the slideshow. Oh, it's gone blank. No, not that slideshow. You see, I spoke too soon. Stop that share. Go back into the other share. See, I'm not giving up, boys and girls. You do not give up. I'm not actually going to do anything. I'm just going to scroll down to the next one. I mentioned St. Margaret. That's my church, and St. Margaret of Antioch. And people go, well, where's Antioch? Turkey. And St. Margaret, she lived a very long time ago, very similar time to St. Cuthbert. And I like us to have female saints as well as male saints, because the church, as it has grown up, there have been lots and lots of stories about male saints who've done good deeds and less about the ladies, the women who have had courage and conviction. And St. Margaret is a fascinating saint. I'm only going to tell you a little bit about St. Margaret. I'll show you some pictures. Now, I wonder if you're very clever, if you pause me now so I don't give it away straight away. What is St. Margaret doing in that picture? Oh yes, and in this picture, and in that picture there, you can just about see it. Right, go back to this one, very obvious on that one. If you've paused me and now unpaused me, St. Margaret, she had to fight a dragon. Now, in one of the stories, St. Margaret is eaten by the dragon, and then the cross she had around her neck made the dragon be sick, basically, gorge her up, it's described as. And so the dragon couldn't swallow St. Margaret. The dragon had to bring St. Margaret back to life and spit her out, a bit like Jonah and the whale. Jonah came out of the whale. Well, Margaret came out of the dragon. And she is known as the patron saint of babies, childbirth. And probably for a very good reason. She survived something that can be very painful and difficult, and but worth it at the end, boys and girls. But there we have St. Margaret, and obviously very brave. And she had been a lovely, kind lady who did lots of good things for people. And she was known for kindness, for loyalty, for love, and for always helping somebody who needed help. What wonderful qualities. And then she had been imprisoned because she did not want to marry a rich man who had come along and demanded that she marry him. She didn't want to because she wanted to continue her life of prayer. And it was when she was imprisoned that the dragon was set upon her. So an interesting story. Perhaps see what else you can find out about St. Margaret of Antioch. And those of you who go to the church at St. Margaret, you know there's a whole bit in the service book that we use all about St. Margaret, and you can be proud of attending her church. She was a very brave, very courageous lady who did good things. Well, that is what we're called to do. So boys and girls, I want you to have a think in your classrooms, in your little bubbles, what we can do to be brave and courageous at this moment in time. To put a smile on our faces, not to be downhearted. I always like that expression, downhearted, not to moan, not to whinge, but to look for the good things every day and do good things every day. Let the light of Jesus shine through us. And if the other music has worked, this last one hopefully will when we've said our prayers. Put your hands together and close your eyes. Dear Heavenly Father, through the example of St. Cuthbert and St. Margaret, help us to be brave and courageous, to let your light shine through us, so may others may see your good works and glorify you. Help us to be kind, to be loving, thoughtful and patient. Help us not to moan and to find the things to wrong in our lives, but to see the good things, the friendships, the kindnesses and the love. We ask this in the name of your Son, our Saviour, Jesus Christ. Amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, for thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, for ever and ever. Amen. Now then, boys and girls, let's see if I can play this to finish with. Have a really good day, boys and girls, and I'll see you soon.
I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Into school, all things, obey the rules, all things, keep my cool, all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Make new friends, all things, give and lend, all things, make amends, all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Pray and sing, all things, love our King, all things, everything, all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Well, I hope that worked, boys and girls. I'll see you very soon. Have a really good day. Bye.